Another piece of equipment that worked on the Lake City branch was combination car number 211 that the Hinsdale County Museum has just purchased from the Schenck Collection in Monte Vista to rehab and then display at the museum.
Lake City is fortunate to have a good county museum. It dates back to the Pioneer Jubilee Women's Club, which started a museum in the 1960s in Lake City. It was succeeded by the Hinsdale County Historical Society in 1973, which today operates Hinsdale County Museum as a nonprofit entity. It's acquired property in downtown Lake City, which includes an historic structure, the 1877 Finley Block, and adjacent property, which has been expanded onto. The museum is primarily a seasonal operation. It operates from May through September each year, although is available for tours year-round. About 3/4 of its exhibits in that museum change every year, so there's a considerable amount of difference from one year to the next. In addition to the museum, there's an archives that boasts all the county newspapers that have ever been published, diaries, photographs, mining plats, books from the mining companies, just about anything that was of interest that sheds light on how Lake City and Hinsdale County developed, not only during the mining era, but going into the 1940s when tourism became a predominant economic force in the community. In our work with Hinsdale County Museum, we've always been interested in preserving railroad history. The railroad went out in the early 1930s, and as a result of that, very little was actually saved. The depot, very short-sightedly, was torn down within years of the railroad going out. The water tower was taken out and recycled. The rails obviously were ripped up. By the time Hinsdale County Museum comes along, our best relic from the mining era in Lake City was a narrow gauge caboose, which the county commissioners had the foresight of latching onto in the 1950s. It was apparently decommissioned about 1954 and immediately brought to Lake City as a souvenir of our glorious railroad history. It was brought to Lake City so quickly after it was decommissioned that the week after it arrived, railroad employees had to come to Lake City to collect their clothes, which were still hanging in a closet of that caboose. For years, the caboose was displayed in front of Hinsdale County Courthouse. In the 1990s, that was removed to the grounds of Hinsdale County Museum, where it was renovated and restored, and is one of our principal railroad relics on display at the museum. We've always been interested in augmenting that caboose with another car. In 2017, an opportunity arose with a man by the name of Don Shanks in Monte Vista, Colorado, that had the Denver and Rio Grande Railroad Foundation. He was aware of the history of some of the cars that he had acquired. One of the cars, in very deteriorated condition, has the rough remnants of the numbers 211 painted on the side. It's an interesting narrow gauge car with a duckbill roof on the end.
Used on the Lake City branch between 1900 and 1933, this car was built by Jackson and Sharp in 1881 as a 44-passenger car. Then in 1900 was converted from coach number 298 to combine car number 211, where it was in service with the Denver and Rio Grande Railroad until it was retired in August of 1940. It was 42 feet long and 8 feet wide.
The car was decommissioned in the San Luis Valley, was used on the Eastern Plains in a ranch setting, and then was acquired by Don Shanks, who in turn sells it to our museum. We were pleased to get this, although it's daunting the amount of work that's going to be required. After it was decommissioned, the undercarriage, any of the metal part, was ripped out from under it. In a ranch setting on the eastern plains, it was no doubt used as a storage shed. Now, back in Monte Vista and coming to Lake City as of June 2018, it will be renovated. Our plan is to replicate particularly rotten portions of it and is keep as much of the original as we can, including reinstalling the seats that would have been in there originally. This car was unique in that there was also a cot located in the freight section for one of the rail employees to sleep in there. There would have been a water closet for use of the passengers, as well as a water cooler as well. As it is, it's in very deteriorated condition, and we're planning to spend up to perhaps 10 years renovating this narrow gauge passenger and freight car, and then displaying it and putting it open to the public in conjunction with caboose number 0588, which we already have on the museum grounds. We're looking at volunteer labor on this, perhaps applying for state funding to assist us in this work, which could entail upwards of $100,000 to complete.
We were lucky enough to get to visit the Hinsdale County Museum when combination car number 211 made its last stop in Lake City on June 28, 2018.
I'm R.S. Scott from Lake City, Colorado. This is a big day. This car actually ran here, and we're going to fix it up so it looks like it used to look.
about Railcar number 211's historic project, or to donate your time or funding, visit the Hinsdale County Historic Society's webpage at www.lakecitymuseum.com.